Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Pausing for Poetry. A couple of years back, I entered a poetry competition to write two poems. One, the titles were Observations and Loss and Gain. So it's just I sent them out. It was a competition up in the north of Ireland, so I posted it off, and one poem got sold. And I think they got placed further, whatever it was, down the list, however many poets were in it or whatever. Did fine, did all right. It was my first poetry competition, did fine. Yeah, so I'll just read you the two poems then from that from that poetry competition I entered. This is called Observations, and as I say, I just kind of went a bit kind of I suppose if you want to call it deep, so poetry does have a quite a deep side to it, as is most of the art, paintings, writing, and all that kind of novels and stuff like that, fiction and non-fiction. It does have a certain amount of depth to it and stuff like that. People say, "Oh, yeah, I'm about as deep as a puddle." You know what I mean? But it's just I think if you kind of have a rummage around in the brain and kind of stuff like that, you kind of do find something that was kind of there that you kind of either didn't know was there or thought you didn't have, kind of thing. So yeah, so I'll just read you this poem then. It's called Observations. To ponder into the great beyond, does your vision ripple like a disturbed pond, following through the passage of time, separating the ridiculous from the sublime? To go forward in the direction you are blown, are you armed with what you have carefully sown? Take that step and go to the breach. It's about the journey, not the destination to reach. You don't see the danger ahead if it all goes wrong where you misled. It's all knowledge and what you have learned, that the road got rocky, seeking what you have always yearned. So say that's kind of the way I kind of approached that particular title. As I said, that was kind of the only kind of two times I wrote poems like that, that I was given the subject. I've written poems for people, for anniversaries, weddings, birthdays, stuff like that. If I'm given a topic to write on, I'll write a poem, and the offer is there if anyone wants anything written for a special occasion, or anything at all. So that's kind of the angle I came from there was I got the titles, and when I got the headings for the poems, it came with a brief description of what I kind of expected as entries for the competition. So I kind of had to, rummage around in the old brain for them to, as I say, as I said before in the other videos, the poems that I write, they're on personal experiences, world affairs, current events, the news, stuff like that. All the stuff that's kind of going on in the world today. That's no, it's terrible at times, and I say I don't just look at the just all the terrible stuff. I was just writing poems that were based on terrible events and tragedies and stuff like that. To be very kind of um, negative, and you know what I mean, and it doesn't make for pleasant reading most of the time. So anyway, this one is called Loss and Gain. So again, this one is just, as I say, I got the title, and I just wrote away, to be honest. So this is called Loss and Gain. Ready to speak about your gain comes at a cost of unseen pain. No one sees the work put in, can sit back and quietly grin. If life is all about winning that toss, would you be grateful in defeat and accept your loss? It is all down to luck and the roll of the dice. Gamble it all for that piece of that slice. Are you richer or poorer by the end of the day? You never know what might be thrown away. Does fortune really favour the bold? Experience is gained and the truth be told. Not all wealth is kept in a bank account. It's the appreciation of life in its large amount. Even if you fall at the final fence, ultimately you have gained common sense. So they're just brief examples there of, uh, where I got the kind of ideas. As I say, it was a competition. It was titles, and I just made up the poem then from that. And as I say, the other poems, I say, like I did in other videos, and if you have the book and just looking through, you can kind of get a kind of a depth or a feel for the where I kind of get the inspiration, motivation, whatever the ideas are, just simply just when I get something to write down. I've been there plenty of times. I might have 3 or 4 sentences written, and then I kind of go back and say, and that's a lot of rubbish. You know what I mean? That's if I can't stand it myself, no one else is going to. So that's the kind of the the kind of idea towards the background to the poetry that I'm writing. And a lot of people are probably, they look at myself in videos and are probably thinking, where's the correlation between this big lump of a lad and writing poetry, and feeling and all that I mentioned before. But sure, there you go. That's I'm trying to put across and explain the best I can. And it's a great way too of just unloading the old clutter. You know what I mean? Just sit down and just write something. It's a great way to just have an old spring clean of the mind. I think it's often phrased. Just write down. Just sit down, write something, whether it's on an old A4 or just jump on the old computer or the laptop. The whatever, the phone, whatever, and just write. I definitely encourage anyone to just stick down a few words on a on a paper, and then show them, or even on Facebook there, or on a blog or anything like that. Wholeheartedly, you know what I mean. I'd encourage anyone, just to put down, basically some of the stuff is what goes on, world events and all the rest. But then a lot of it then is just how you kind of feel yourself at the time, and stuff like that. So just give it a bash, and see. You never know, what you might have in the old vaults of the mind there. So definitely, I'd encourage everyone and anyone to give it a good go, and you never know. A book is a great way to leave behind a legacy. So it's a good way. It's fine whatever area of expertise or career you're in, that you might be remembered for. But it's all from my own point of view, they're all the great poets, especially the Irish poets. They're all well known, and they're still well known, and their legacy lives on. That they achieved immortality. So as I say, that's kind of what I just with the kind of parting kind of word on this video. Have an old shot, write something. You never know. Maybe in a year's time, 2 years' time, whatever long it takes. It took me 7 or 8 years to write that book, so there's hope for everyone yet. So I'll leave you with that for today, and thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all again very soon.